Can real estate investing work in Lorain County? Let's find out. Hello, this is Joshua Naramore Sr., Business Development Manager with Realty Trust Services, here to answer that very question. 20 minutes west of Cleveland is a rental market that's quietly outperforming a lot of bigger names in Ohio. Lorain County is more affordable, more owner-occupied, and for investors paying attention, sitting on some real upside. Let's get into vacancy, rent prices, and what this market means if you're thinking about buying an investment property here. Lorain County is a different animal than Cuyahoga County is right next door. It's majority owner-occupied, with roughly 72.5% of households owning and only about 27.5% renting county-wide. Median home values across the county sits around $164,600, notably lower than Cuyahoga County, which makes entry costs for investors more attainable. The city of Lorain itself skews closer to a 50-50 renter-to-owner split, with 44% of households renting, making the city itself the real rental hub within the county. This is a market in transition. Waterfront revitalization projects downtown are actively reshaping the city's appeal for both renters and buyers. So how is vacancy looking? How much room is there? Lorain County's rental vacancy rate has historically run higher than Cuyahoga's, in the 8 to 9% range, compared to Cuyahoga's tighter, roughly 4%. That's meaningfully looser than the national rental vacancy rate of around 7%, meaning renters here generally have more options and more negotiating power than renters in Cleveland proper. For investors, higher vacancy is a double-edged sword. It means more competition to fill units, but it also means more room to acquire property without immediately displacing existing tenants, and often signals less competitive bidding on acquisitions compared to tighter markets. Statewide, Ohio's rental vacancy sits around 5.5 to 7%, so Lorain tends towards the looser end of that range, worth factoring into any hold time assumptions for cash flow. So what is the rental pricing breakdown? Average rent in the city of Lorain sits around $950 to $960 a month, up roughly 3% from the year before. Modest growth, but real growth. By unit size, a one-bedroom is fetching $785, two-bedroom, $1,000, $1,060, three bedrooms, $1,240. That's substantially cheaper than Cleveland's citywide averages, for roughly 40% less for a comparable one-bedroom, which is exactly why Lorain gets described as close to Cleveland, but far more affordable. Short-term rental pricing tells a different story. Lorain's Airbnb vacation rental market has been heating up fast, averaging daily rates around $207 to $214 per night. Occupancy roughly 39 to 51%, depending on the data source and season. Average annual revenue per listing is $19,000, $25,000, up nearly 19% year over year. Lakefront neighborhoods like South Lorain areas near Avon Lake are the top performing zones for short-term rentals. Takeaway, long-term rents are affordable and rising slowly, but the short-term rental segment, driven by the Lake Erie waterfront, is growing fast. So what does this mean for investors? Lorain checks the boxes that matter for most new investors. Low cost for entry with median home values well under $200,000. This is one of the most accessible markets in the Cleveland metro area. The downtown waterfront district is undergoing active revitalization, and this is the area local market analysis point to as the highest potential zone for both property appreciation and short-term rental demands. Two distinct strategies stand out here. Buy and hold long-term rentals, lower prices, but also lower purchase prices. The math can still cash flow well, especially on multi-unit or duplex properties, and higher vacancy means you can typically negotiate better acquisition prices. Short-term vacation rentals, with rising daily rates and occupancy near the lakefront, Lorain is emerging as a legitimate Lake Erie short-term rental market, something that didn't really exist as an investment category here a few years ago. As with any Ohio market, Lorain benefits from the state's landlord-friendly legal environment and comparatively low property taxes. The risk side, higher vacancy than Cuyahoga County means tenant turnover and marketing costs deserve a bigger bottom line in your underwriting than they would in a tighter market like Cleveland. So the short version, Lorain County is cheaper to buy in, has more rental vacancy, which means negotiating power for both renters and buyers, and is sitting on a growing short-term rental market thanks to the Lake Erie waterfront. And it's a very different profile than Cleveland right next door. And honestly, that makes it interesting. If you haven't seen it yet, I broke down Cuyahoga County and Cleveland's rental market. Go check that out to see how these two neighboring markets really compare. Happy 250th America. God bless you. And looking for a free portfolio assessment? Check us out at propertymanagementoh.com. I'm Josh Renammer Sr. with Realty Trust Services, and I'll be seeing you. God bless.